Hi guys, it's Webby and welcome back to another video, and welcome to my first experience with a plug-in electric hybrid, because that's what this BMW is. It looks like a regular BMW, certainly from the outside there's no difference to any other model in the range, but this is the 330e. So it's a plug-in electric hybrid, so it's a little bit different to every sort of day hybrid like a Toyota Camry or something like that. So today's video I'm going to actually show you around the car and explain the differences between this and a regular 330. So come and join me as we look around the new 330e. So the big difference obviously between this and a regular 330 is what's under the bonnet. We've got a 2-litre turbocharged petrol engine which has got 135 kilowatt and 300 newton meters of torque. A 12 kilowatt lithium ion battery which develops 83 kilowatt and 265 newton meters of torque. Combined, put the two together, you've got 215 kilowatt and 420 newton meters. Now if that doesn't all add up, is a very good reason for it. So the electric motor brings all of its torque low down in the rev range, and then the petrol engine picks up halfway through. And then when the electric motor cuts out, the petrol engine keeps going. So that's where you get the average figures of the 215 kilowatts and 420 newton meters of torque. In terms of performance figures, the 330e gets to 100 kilometers an hour in just 5.8 seconds, which is quite impressive, because this car actually weighs slightly more than the standard 330i. Starting at the front of the car, not only have we got the M Sport body styling kit, but you can see that the G23 series is quite different from the previous F30. You've got this new style design of headlight, the bonnet has been redesigned, the kidney grills are redesigned, so it's quite a different look from the previous generation. And this car's actually got the laser headlights, which is part of the visibility pack, more of which I'll talk about a bit later. One of the option packs available on this 330e is called a comfort pack. It gives you heated front seats, lumbar support for the driver and passenger, and also an electric tailgate, which you can actually use your foot to open by simply wiping your foot underneath the rear bumper like that. Now because the batteries are under the back of the car here, you do lose a little bit of boot space, but it's still quite good for a car this size. This little handy bag here actually contains the charging cable for when you plug in your car in at home. So I'll grab this and I'll show you where you plug it in. You've got a flap here which looks just like a normal sort of fuel filling flap. So you just push that open and then you've got the plug socket just there. This end of the cable obviously plugs straight into the car, just like this. And then you've got a regular plug which just goes into your normal plug socket in your garage. Something worth bearing in mind is if you do plug your car in at home to charge, it takes around 5 hours to go from 0 to 100%. But that's not too bad because you can do it overnight, so it's ready for when you go to work in the morning. So now we're going to have a look at the interior of this 330e. And as this is the M Sport model, we start off with things like the nice door sill protectors down here. We've got these really supremely comfortable sport seats with full electrical adjustment. And so with that comfort pack, we've also got the lumbar support as well. And this other button here can actually inflate the bolsters on the side. So if you're going for a bit of an enthusiastic drive in the country, you can actually inflate the sides of the seats, which will hold you in a bit more. So here we have the digital display in front of the driver. We're currently in hybrid mode, because over on the right hand side you can see how much battery has been used on the top half of the scale. And then the bottom half of the scale will actually show you if you're actually charging the battery as you're driving. Plus also the bottom right hand corner shows you how much battery only life you've got left, which at this stage is showing 4 kilometers. If we look over to the left hand side, we just got a standard rev counter, because that obviously comes into use once the petrol engine kicks in. If we put the car into sport mode, you can see all that changes. So on the right hand side we've now got a traditional rev counter, so the battery meter has gone all together, only leaving the battery range just down there in the right hand bottom corner. So now if we put the car into full electric mode, it changes again. So the battery meter has come back, but it only goes up to 60%. And on the left hand side again we've got the speedo there as well. So it just changes slightly with every different driving mode. So down here we've got all the gear stick and all the controls that surround it. On the left hand side here we've got all the controls for the Idrive system, which is obviously on the main screen on the dashboard. Coming over to the right hand side we've got the buttons where it adjusts things like your cameras and parking sensors. And down here, obviously, your buttons we were adjusting the driving modes just a minute ago. Electronic handbrake, which is a fairly standard thing these days. And then we've got this battery button, which is quite interesting. And when you press this battery button on the display, it actually brings up a menu called battery control. And what you can do with this is actually choose how much battery the car will use before it stops using the battery and just switches over to pure sort of petrol power. And this enables you to keep a reserve of battery. So if you know how much battery you need for, coming home from work, for example, it means you're not going to run out of battery and obviously end up using the petrol engine. So this new 330e has got the latest version of Idrive. So that now includes wireless Apple CarPlay, which is full screen and is very easy to use and also to see whilst you're driving along. You've got buttons just below that which operate all your air conditioning controls. You've got your favourite buttons just there, as per all the other BMWs. So when we open up this section here, we've got a couple of cup holders, a 12-volt power socket, a USB, and just down here, what you can't quite see, there's actually a wireless charging pad. Now coming into the back of the 330, it's just as comfortable as we are in the front. We've got a nice bit of leg room, we can fit the feet under the front driver's seat, and even though the car's got the sunroof, there's still a decent amount of headroom as well. In the middle, we've got the rear air vents for the passengers and also the controls for the air conditioning. Plus also a 12-volt power socket and 2 USB-C fast charging points. We also get a fold-down rear centre armrest with a couple of cup holders. So we've got a full tank of gas, we've got a full charge. So we're going to see how far I can go on the full charge of electric. We're just doing normal driving. Not sort of babying or anything, just doing normal everyday stuff. Just see how far we can get on that charge indicated on the dashboard there, just to see how accurate it is. You immediately realise how quiet it is inside when it's running on full electric, which is what it does most of the time when you've got it in that hybrid mode. And apart from the fact that it is the plug-in hybrid version, it doesn't really feel any different from any other 3 Series, which is obviously a good thing, because you don't feel like you're driving something different. It's just like a normal everyday car. It's actually quite interesting when you watch the needle on the right hand side, and it will show you whether you're using battery or when you're braking or going downhill, it will actually show you how much sort of charge you're putting back into the battery. So you can constantly watch the gauge on the dash to tell you what your range is. Now when it switches over from being just electric to sort of hybrid to the petrol and the electric motor, the shift is absolutely seamless. The only thing you notice is a sudden urge in acceleration when the petrol engine and the electric motor work together. So you suddenly get all that 215 kilowatt going through the rear wheels. And even when you come into a like I said, a traffic lights or a roundabout, if you take your foot off the accelerator, it also recharges the battery as well, so you've got regenerative braking, which is quite cool. So this isn't the first time I've driven a hybrid vehicle, but it is the first time I've driven a plug-in hybrid vehicle. So I guess in the back of your mind you're always a little bit aware of how much range you've got on purely electric, because on a standard hybrid car, obviously that battery recharges as you drive and you never have to plug it in. But if you're not doing long journeys, if you're just sort of doing, like me, my commute to work is only 12 kilometres each way. So for me, I never have to worry about, am I going to run out of charge on the battery, because obviously you've still got the petrol engine. But the range that it gives you on a full charge is more than enough for me to get to work and back, and also a bit of running around, going to the shops and what have you. So it's perfectly fine. Alright, so I'm going to give it a go in sport mode and see what that does. So that instantly brings the engine on. Let's have a go overtaking this car in front. Yeah, that was pretty quick. That was the full 215 kilowatt, and you could really feel it pick up and go. That was really impressive. Yeah, that's got some serious get up and go. And now we're on a bit of twisty country road, and we'll have a bit of fun around the corners and see if there's any different. Yeah, it certainly still handles like a 3 Series should. And the punch out of the corners is really impressive as well. Now, quite interestingly, putting it in sport mode, which automatically brings the engine into play, the range hasn't gone down. Whether that's because having the engine in play feeds more power back to the battery, I suspect that's probably the case. So yeah, that's actually quite good. I thought it would like deplete the battery a bit quicker, but in actual fact it's the opposite. It's putting more power back into the battery because obviously you're using the engine much more. Hey BMW.
Hello, what can I help you with?
Change the temperature to 22 degrees.
Okay, I set the temperature on 22 degrees Celsius.
That's pretty cool, hey? So hey BMW is kind of like having Siri in your car. Now, I mentioned earlier in the video that this car's got 2 options packs fitted to it. The first one is the visibility pack, which gives us the sunroof, the ambient lighting at night time, and also these fantastic laser headlights. These laser headlights can actually see up to 530 meters in front of the car, which is quite impressive, much more than your standard LED or bi-xenon headlights. The other pack we've got is the comfort pack, which will give you heated front seats, lumbar support on the driver and passenger front seat, and also that electric tailgate that we looked at earlier. Combined all together, it's just over $100,000 on the road, which is just over $6,000 more than a standard 330i petrol. So the big question is, do you go for the 330e or do you go for the 330i? Well, I guess that depends on your priorities. Do you want a car that's quiet, efficient, can run on electric for up to about sort of 50 k's for the day? Or do you want the outright sort of handling and power of the 330i? The choice is yours, and it's a good choice to have to make. I'd suggest go and drive both and see which one suits you best. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like because it helps YouTube recommend it to other people. Please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell because that will let you know when every new video comes out of all the new car reviews that are coming. The rest of this year is looking really good in terms of cars that I'm going to get to drive, and some fantastic stuff coming. So make sure you stay tuned, stay subscribed, and look out for plenty more videos to come. So that just leaves me to say thank you for watching today, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.